A very good morning, Team Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. Let us do this quickly. There is a video which is trending right here on social media, and we need to take a look onto that video. There are so many questions which are being asked by people. Who is better than the other? Madzibaba Ishmael and President Emmerson Mnangagwa's regime. So, kwa Madzibaba Ishmael, kune vanga vachidaidzira vachiti Kenani. And he was doing a lot there. And there are so many accusations of human rights abuses which are there, which involve child abuses, child labor, sexual abuses, etc. But there is this part of the video from Sly Media which we need to tackle and take a look. Yes, the other issues are being tackled at the courts, but there is something very important which you need to take a look on. The kind of education Madzibaba Ishmael was giving to these children. We need to comment only on that, and I need your views. The kind of education which Madzibaba Ishmael was imposing on the young children there. Let us take a look onto that kind of education and understand which one is better than the other. Madzibaba Ishmael's style or the government style.
Magarati kaita kungoti ichizi formal chete chikoro chedu but vana ava vari kugadzira sipetsi vari kutosona ipapo handimanzwa achiti magetsi aenda vanotosona vanoita zvinhu zvavo mota chaidzo vanogadzira mota dzakafa vanokanika kufish pond uko they know kuti vanofisha vanogadzira zvavo sei kune welding vana vedu vanoziva kuti ndinotsvaga mari sei yekuraramisa mhuri yangu saka ichi chikoro ichi chakatozvimira hachisati chane zita riri formal kana kuti kudii but chinotova chikoro because they know kuti sipo vanoigadzira sei vanoziva kuti mafuta edu tinogadzira mafuta panapa vanoziva kuti tinomasvina sei tinosona sei hembe dzedu tinogadzira sei zvipfuyo zvedu mombe dzedu mbudzi dzedu mudzimba huku dzedu tinodzigadzira sei vanotoziva ipapo chakakosha kutsvaga mari handishore hurumende natso ndinzwisisa ipapo tinotosapotana nayo asi kuti mwari wedu watinonamata mwari wedu wari kumusoro kudenga akatiudza kuti vana vedu havapinde pai.
So this is Madzibaba Ishmael's education style, where young children, young kids, young boys are being taught to do fishery, to do welding, to do mechanics, to do sewing or fashion. And these are practical subjects. When you are doing welding, you need to be able to read dimensions, which means there is a form of education being instilled in these kids. I'm being honest right here. You will not be able to manufacture a window frame with certain dimensions when you cannot read the tape measure, which means what is very important is for them to know the measurements, how to read them, and those ankles. Personally, I did welding, which means I understand how technical that subject is. You cannot make a right angle when you don't know how to make it, which means whether you are using tools or you are using calculations, mathematical calculations, using old models like Dara Saturn, my recent tools, you would understand that it's a complex task for you to be able to be doing so. Right angles. And that alone can tell you that there is a form of education which was happening at this farm. But the authorities might have failed to understand the model which was being used. Personally, I am of the view that the government was supposed to be more regulatory than prohibitive. In my own view, they were supposed to be more regulatory than prohibitive, because personally, I started going to school from grade 1 to 7, form 1 to 4, form 5 to 6, then to tertiary level. All those years, more than 17 years, were wasted. What I'm doing in life, I never learned about it at school. What I am pursuing right now, I never learned about it in school. These are the issues we're raising to say we are doing irrelevant issues, irrelevant stuff To some extent, I agree with Madzibaba Ishmael's education model, because not everybody is going to be a lawyer, not everybody is going to be a teacher, not everybody is going to be a doctor, which means we must make sure that our children know about these skills at young age, because the Bible says, train them when they are still young, so that when they grow up, they will not depart from those teachings you have given to them. Which means we have to train our kids. Personally, if I was trained since I was young, I was going to be far much better than any training I'm getting right now, because the time I'm being trained, I'm thinking about my family, I'm thinking about my girlfriend, I'm thinking about any other things. But when I was young, there are things which I was not thinking about. I was focusing on my lessons. I was focusing on the kind of training I was receiving. I can tell you this. My father was in construction. When I was young, I would visit my father over the weekends, over the holidays at his workplace. I know much about construction than that. When you are young, because you are focused more on whatever you are doing. So, looking at the education system that Madzibaba Ishmael was introducing, there is need to formalize this kind of education where we teach skills, be it carpentry, be it welding, be it mechanics. These are the things we need to teach our children. Because imagine ndichidzidziswa kunzi mashu wiza ine maparts mangani, labeling maparts ewiza nemashu and zvimwe zvipembenene. What does that help me? Honestly speaking, what does that help me? So, taking a look onto this education system, personally, I believe that Madzibaba Ishmael reflects better than this current government we have. Because if you go to the rural areas, kids are learning under trees. What is the difference of the kids who are learning under trees, who are learning nothing in the rural areas, and those kids at Madzibaba Ishmael? These kids can do welding, these kids can do mechanics, these kids can do fishing, farming, but these kids at our schools in the rural areas knows nothing. They can't do anything. So who is better than the other? If you put them in the formal market, in the formal employment market, who is going to be picked? The one who can do certain things and the one who can't do anything? I think you have the answer. So what we need to do as the government is to make sure that we formalize this kind of education, and we regulate it in such a way that it helps children to become independent and self-sufficient. So this is what I think, Team Zimbabwe. I do not know what you think. The comment section is open. Let us talk. What do you really think about this form of education? A disclaimer here. Let us not talk about any other accusations. Madzibaba Ishmael. We are talking about the kind of education Madzibaba Ishmael yavari kuisa kuteam ravo versus yava Mnangagwa. Muri kudziona sei? Personally, I say Madzibaba Ishmael iri nani, because achibva ikoko already ane zvekuita. Iwewe wako mwana kana akasachestirwa basa nababa mukuru, achaitei kunze kwekunochinja mari mutauni kana kubhosha.